What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel, Wealth Hacker Labs. This is the channel dedicated to teaching you new ways to grow wealth that is not taught to you in schools or by your parents. I am your gracious host, Jeff Rose. And what I want to talk about today is a rundown of the 3 current proposals that are in Congress right now. We all know about the CARES Act. If you're not sure what that is exactly, then you are aware of the $1,200 economic stimulus check that you either have received or you are still waiting to get mailed to you. Not only did the CARES Act provide that $1,200 check, but you also got an extended $600 of unemployment that would last up to potentially 13 weeks. But a lot of people are making a lot of noise saying that the $1,200 one-time payment isn't enough. And there are definitely folks in Congress that are hearing you, that are listening. There's actually a petition that I've had several commenters share with me that if you want to sign that petition so that it can be passed on to your representative, that something can get passed to help those still in need. So right now there are currently 3 major stimulus proposals in the works. Some of this information has already been shared, but I wanted to provide just a one-stop shop, one-stop resource so that you can hear what each of these proposals can do for you potentially. So the first one that is getting most of the buzz is the Emergency Money for the People Act. Doing it for the people. And why this one is getting so much buzz is because we're not talking about a $1,200 one-time payment. What we're talking about is a $2,000 monthly stimulus payment that will go a minimum of 6 months up to 1 year potentially. So that is the major one that people are talking about because, I mean, why not? It's $2,000 and that is per individual. So if you are a married couple, that would be potentially $4,000 for the 2 of you. And if you have dependent children, that also is additional monies that could be coming your way. The Emergency Money for the People Act, this was introduced by Representatives Ro Khanna and Tim Ryan. And the big also change with this act as opposed to the CARES Act is that anybody that is age 16 that's being claimed as a dependent that still lives at home would also qualify for this $2,000 monthly stimulus. They've also increased the income limits, provided you still have to earn, if you earn more than $130,000 individually, $260,000 as a couple, then there would be phase out limits. Now, the other thing that you need to know about this act, that it also does provide the $500 per child, just like the CARES Act, but the way that it is currently written, it caps off at 3 children. So if you're a family of 6 with 4 kids like myself, then that 4th child would not be getting any money. Well, the parents would not be getting any money for that 4th, 5th, 6th child, however many kids you have. And probably the main thing that many people are really digging about how this is proposed, especially for those that are sitting at home waiting for your check to arrive and it still hasn't yet, they are trying to propose that instead of doing the way that it's been done in the CARES Act, that they would have some sort of prepaid debit card, some sort of mobile money platform like Venmo, Zelle, PayPal, whatever, I don't know if Cash App's included, but basically they're just trying to make it easier on the IRS, on the government to send out checks, get the money to you, and just expedite this whole process. In a previous video, I talked about the timeline that was released by the IRS showing that for the higher income earners that still would qualify for the first $1,200 check, it may take up to 21 weeks to get your physical check in the mail. So anything that could expedite the process, get that money in the Americans' hands that much faster, I think it's safe to say that we're all on board with that. Now, just a reminder, this is the proposal in current form. This has not passed. This is not law. This is just what is in Congress, and this is what they are talking about right now as a possible solution. In addition to the Emergency Money for the People Act, we also have the provision that allows for no rent or mortgage payments for up to 1 year. So this act is called the Rent and Mortgage Cancellation Act, and this was introduced by Representative Ilhan Omar from Minnesota. And basically what trying to accomplish here is canceling any rent or mortgage payments on an individual's primary residence for up to 1 year. Now, how the bill is currently written, it would prohibit double dipping. So it's not like a husband and wife can both take this credit. But the bill would currently include, and this is it in its current form, full rent payment or mortgage payment forgiveness for your primary resident, no debt accumulation for renters or homeowners, and no negative marks on your credit history. So your credit's not going to get dinged because you didn't make the payment. Now, if you are hearing this and you are a renter, you're probably getting really excited. I mean, the idea of not having to pay rent for an entire year, that would ease so much financial burden on so many people in America right now that have been laid off, that have been furloughed, that have been downsized, whatever the issue may be. But if you are a landlord and you're hearing this, you're probably not having the same response. But what is also included in the bill is that it would establish a rental property relief fund and the home lenders relief fund, both managed by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. So basically all this is set aside to help out with landlords, with those that have all these properties, because this is their business, this is their livelihood. So the bill makes sure it has something to compensate for their financial burden, the stress that they're going to have by not having all the rent payments that they've been accustomed to for however many years. Now, if you want more information, if you want to read up on the Emergency Money for the People Act or the Rent and Mortgage Cancellation Act, or even the third act that I'm getting ready to share, I'll have a link in the description for the representatives' websites where they've shared more in detail what these acts cover so that you can get all the information that you need. All right, so the third and final act, this act is called the Getting America Back to Work Act. And this was proposed by Senator Josh Hawley out of Missouri. And basically what he is trying to do is create a refundable payroll tax rebate that would cover up to 80% of employer payroll costs up to the average wage. It would also establish a rehiring bonus for employees who were laid off and who were later rehired. Now, this doesn't act or feel like a stimulus check, but what it does allow is an employer to be able to bring back the staff that they didn't want to let go. So if you were laid off, now you can get rehired, and not only are you getting paid, but you also would get all of your benefits that you had, whether that be health insurance and other coverages that you may have had that now you don't have because that you were laid off. And the other reason why this is being introduced, because could you imagine how inundated the unemployment system is right now with everybody that is filing for unemployment? I mean, there have been millions and millions and millions of people laid off, and I can't even imagine all the paperwork that they're trying to go through. I mean, the IRS has got their hands full, but the unemployment, woo, dear Lord. I mean, I definitely do not, I'm not envious of their situation right now. So that is the whole, what this Getting Back to Work Act is trying to establish. Just get employers back in a situation where they can hire their key people, also to helping out with the unemployment system. So right now, these are the three acts that they are currently in the works. There's nothing guaranteed. I think that is, I don't think I have to repeat that. I think we get that. We know that the government can change on a dime and nothing is ever certain until it is. And even with the economic stimulus checks, yeah, it got passed, and many of you are still like in disbelief because you haven't got it yet. I promise you, people have received it, so I can't promise you that you're going to receive yours. The government says you will, so I'll let you decide who you want to believe on that one. All right, y'all, hope this was helpful to you, just trying to make sense of all the craziness that's going on. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe. This is Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until next time, peace.